It is my utmost desire to have my personage extradited from the confines of this composite rectangular prism in which I have found myself unwillingly incarcerated. In other words, Perceptor... Get me out the box! Get me out the f***ing box! Not to dumb it down too much in front of Percy, but he be good. Firstly, what a nice surprise to find a head sculpt that is, remotely reminiscent of the character that it's supposed to be embodying. Which is, you'd think it'd be a given, but anyone who's got any of the 86 figures knows it is not. One thing straight off the bat that I'm really enjoying about him is the fact that, there's not a huge amount of paint on him, but they've just molded him out of a lot of different colors of plastic, and somehow that makes him feel more real. I don't know what it is. Strange call, I know, but here I am making it. But do you have the data to support your claim? Well, yes. Okay. You got a little bit of paint on the top of the shoulder and on his, dials, but otherwise, it's 3 different colored plastics, which is nifty. Then on his torso, they've just kind of painted his window screen and abs, but otherwise, it's all molded. It feels nifty. It somehow almost gives him like a bit of a third-party premium sort of feel, which I guess is sort of what the Studio Series was meant to do. I also really like the metallic shine of that mug. It adds a lot of kind of dynamic lighting to his face, no matter what shapes he's throwing. And I know my boy Perspective End will be very happy with the fact that those are metallic painted eyes as opposed to light piping. With the exception of a couple of transformation molding lines and stuff on him, you'd almost be forgiven for thinking that this was like a Red Series figure and he doesn't actually transform. I mean, admittedly, he kind of just goes into the fetal position for his transformation, like a loosely themed microscope is not a tall order, but still. He's crispy. His head is on a pretty decent ball joint. You can get a little bit around and stuff. Not a huge amount, but enough to make him feel animated. He is delightfully articulated as one I might expect from a Studio Series bot, so free of kibble. So, we get around the world, one-way ticket. The tiniest bit beyond 90 on his elbows, which have got that little extra piece in there to help fill it out, which I'm a huge fan of. No wrist swivel, but you do get a little bit of a bend for swirling martinis. Waist swivel. My favourite type of hip articulation, where the skirts are on a separate piece, so no matter how you have his legs, it's not ruining any of his lines or shapes or the kind of illusion that he could be out there in the world doing his thing. Splendiferous knees. He's kicking the goddamn concrete! Decent tiltage out of that ankle rocker. Well, actually, more than decent. Extreme. And then a little bit of pointy toe action for testing if it's alright to go in the pool. Ooh! You also then get quite good articulation out of this. You can up and down it. No lefty-righty, so he can only shoot or look at things that are in front of him. Whoop. I guess you could hide it away if you wanted to. So that he had some Predator style, collar over his shoulder. The only aspect of his articulation which is a little bit odd is how you can break that thigh. Oh!
Hello up there! I seem to have fallen down a cliff. I'm still alive, but I'm very badly injured. I think my legs might be broken, but I'll try to stand up. Oh!
I believe it is now approaching the point in proceedings where one might look backwards over Marvel's past and see the evolutionary line that is Perceptor. In other words, Perceptor. You know what? No. God damn it. Enough is enough. I refuse to dumb myself down for the likes of you. No. Read a book. Read a goddamn book. We're an ancient race. You've had the time. No. No. We're outnumbered. But we're not. We're just not. Look around. Look around yourself. Bring in the other Percys. We're outnumbered. Boom. Oh, look at that, would you? That is... wow. Okay. What is this guy? Classics? Henkai? Universe? Generations? I can't really remember. Not that it matters. Just Chug. He was just our Chug offering. Reveal the shield? Was that Was that a thing? He definitely has a shield to reveal. See if it still works. Shield revealed. Do I get my 3 wishes now? Ah, man, look at this, would you? I remember a time where I was like, yeah, well, he's got a little bit of that kind of all-hail Megatron vibe to him. This is business Perceptor. A microscope is a stupid thing to turn into, especially once you get to Earth. I mean, I could see if it was your job, like if you strolled to work or caught the bus or whatever, and then, you know, you spent your day as a microscope. I guess that's the Cybertronian equivalent of an office job, but this guy was much tougher. But, oh, he just doesn't really stand up by today's standards, does he? It truly is a golden age. A modern marvel. And then we've got Titan's Return Perceptor, who, when you're just holding him out of context, he seems like he's bigger than Studio Series Perceptor, but he isn't, as you can now see with your very own eyes. I do still think that this was a pretty good Perceptor. I think they did a good job with this line in general in giving us some new updated versions of characters. I can live with the fact that they're headmasters. That's not the end of the universe to me. In the Hamverse, I always just kind of pretended that the headmasters who were non-headmaster characters were infiltrating and trying to, you know, take on their identity in a vain attempt to further the Micron agenda. Alright, let's have a look at this transformation, shall we? I have a funny feeling that there's not going to be a hell of a lot to it. Also, just while I've got you, does anyone else get the feeling that Perceptor's preferred form is actually his microscope mode? Don't tell anyone. Let us begin the scaffolded educative process of transformation. In other words, Perceptor. F*** me. Away. Twist. Down. 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 Fold. Bend. Just a quick interjection, while he's sort of halfway like this, don't you reckon he looks a lot like one of the Viacons from the old movie game? Or like he should be giving it legs from the Mando? Flip. Grip. Twist. Bend. Twist. Twist. Fold. Fold. Snap. Snap. Sit. Point. Bend. Bend. Flip. Science. I don't even really know what you do with this. Spectral analysis reveals this to be a counterfeit matrix. I have always thought it would be cool if, like, with Perceptor's chest, if he'd been able to take, you know, cassette bots as well. Because you could even reuse some of the same cassettes, and instead of having, like, a tape deco on them, make them look like, you know, they're slides with, like, I don't know, some kind of cool disease on it or medicine or something, and then you could actually have something slide under his microscope to give it a little bit of playability. This one's a bird! This one's a little man!
He had a little man in his hair.
As a wholly unnecessary and unwanted, in my opinion, throwback to his G1 form, you can go ahead and turn it up like this, bend that up like a so, and then you kind of just want to flip these legs around, and then they kind of tab in on his wrists. Again, for those playing at home that didn't manage to catch this incredible transformation, now I guess he's a gun pod for little dudes. It's his tank mode. I don't know, did we ever even see him use that in the show? At least the G1 version looks a little bit more like a tank than this. It is kind of like a cool gunner platform, I suppose. I know I said it was unwarranted and unnecessary, but the more I think of it as just like a little gunning platform, the more I kind of dig it. I guess that leads to a little bit more playability with like mini dudes. You could go and get a Micromaster, Minicon, Micron, Nebulon, Proton, Neutron, Neutrino. Wrong franchise. And have him man it. Don't super know why Perceptor wouldn't man it himself, but there we are. I guess you'd also get like a target master. What do they call these in the end? Battle masters? Well, that was cooler in theory than execution. It's a odd look, to say the least. Pow, 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 pow. I'm contributing to the war effort! So I thought I'd round this one out with him nestled amongst the rest of the cohort of 86 alumni. This version of Perceptor has that thing that a few of these guys do. Not the two in the end, definitely the Hot Rod. They have that thing where it feels like, okay, yeah, this is now the definitive version of this character. If up until now you'd been using any other Perceptor in your 86 lineup, even if it had been that Titan's Return one, which felt like it was a really good fit right up until you clap eyes on this guy. Once you've had this one in your lineup, in your diorama, getting his display on, you just can't accept any substitutions. He's just good. He's just a really good example of what the Studio Series is all about. Going for that on-screen feel, adding some extra surface detail so it's still got that really cool toy feel. I'm all about it. This is a prime example of what this line is going for and kicking goals in. He really does just look so at home amongst his classmates there, doesn't he? So that's it from me. Thank you so much for coming with me on this scientific odyssey of discovery. Hope you liked it. If you did, click at the clickers, clack at the clackers, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace! Goddamn morons, I'm surrounded by goddamn imbeciles.